Windows Server 2019 System Administration. Welcome back everybody. I'm Prakash Madan, your trainer for this entire series. In today's topic, we're going to talk about one of the important roles that was launched Server 2008 onwards by the Microsoft, that's known as a remote desktop web access. It's a very good role. It helps every system administrator to reduce some of the working burden as well. Over here, what we can do using a remote desktop web access, we can easily publish any of the application that can be used by the hundreds of the clients. That means in order to use this remote desktop web access, we need to make sure that we provide a particular URL to use it. And apart from that, some sort of your security procedure, it has to go through the authentication as well. One of the most important role, or one of the most important thing that I find over here using a remote desktop web access is that it works as much good as we are installed application in our local PC. That means no matter how many clients are using this application over the cloud, okay, from the centralized server, it works as fast as you are using all the time using your local machine itself. Okay, so let's see how does it look like. So the first one, after the installation of this remote desktop web access, when the client wanted to access this role, in order to access any of the application over here, they find a screen similar to that for the authentication. Now here you need to make sure that you provide a domain authentication first one, okay, in a domain slash username. It's not like my domain name was viatech.com, so over here even if I give viatech slash my username, it will work. Okay, so after that, whatever applications are published over here using a remote desktop web access, it looks something like this. Since I have published only 2 apps, okay, in order to show you for one example, it shows like this, but it depends upon the need of your organization. That means if you are going to publish, let's say office applications, okay, or any graphical application, whatever you want, that can be used in a centralized server. That means from sitting in a one branch office, the client can access, okay, client can have access over the any of your application that your organization is using from the any corner of the world. But since we are using currently in a lab environment, okay, I'm not going to use a public IP or any of the certificate that is brought from the outsource. So over here I'm going to use self-signed certificate and use a private IP itself. Okay, so without wasting much time, so let's see how to install the role for this remote desktop web access. See, this topic is a bit lengthy. Okay, now we will have to install the role. It gets restarted, you'll have to configure this. Okay, it might take time, or even if I use this one in a sequence step by step, it might be around minimum 30 to 40 minutes video. So in order to reduce all this time, okay, this lengthy time, I have used the 2 servers at the same time. Okay, so in first server I'm going to show you the steps how to install the role. Okay, now after that it takes time to install and the system will restart. Now second PC, second server is ready. That means after restart, how to configure. See, the first part is installing the role, second part is configuring the role. Okay, thus publishing the app, okay, selecting a user whom do you want to allow to use this application using a remote desktop. So many things are there. So that's why in order to reduce your previous let's say this precious time, I'm going to use 2 servers. Okay, now in first server I'm going to show you how to install remote desktop web access. Go to manage. It's simple. See, it's just to install the role as you have done for CA Active Directory, but the only difference is that that is not role based. So over here we are going to use a remote desktop service installation since we are dealing with the remote. So that's why you'll have to select this option. After that, see, I'm using the standard version. It's a free version from the Microsoft. Okay, almost around 100 days left to expire my license, so I'm using this free one. So if you are using other edition, you might get more than that, so just go through it. Okay, so now I'm going to use the standard deployment because I want you to see all the configuration. Okay, now next, again it gives this scenario: virtual machine based or the session based. So I'm not going to use virtual machine based, I'm going to use session based. Okay, this also depends upon the need of your organization, okay, whatever you are using. So now after that, these are the key services that we are going to install from the role. That means remote desktop connection broker, remote desktop web access, remote access desktop, session nodes. This is the most important. So all these three services are going to be installed from the role remote desktop. So next, now you'll have to select on which server. See, select the servers from the server pool on which to install this RD connection broker role. Of course, in this case, this is the only server I'm going to use. Okay, so select it. Next, I'm going to use the same server over here. Okay, now after this, it will make sure this server does exist. Okay, this IP, this domain, this PC does exist. Then it will continue its work. See, okay, now remote desktop web access. Which server you are going to use? Select a server from the server pool on which to install RD web access. Of course, I'm going to use the same server, so I'm going to give this one. Now the last one left is the session host. Okay, now session host. Also, I'm going to give the same thing. That means the same server, because see, I've used only one server to install all the roles since we are in the lab environment. So next, and deploy. Then it will start. See, this is simply a some kind of your prerequisite before you configure this remote desktop web access. That means installing the role and the services that is within the role. Okay, so they select this because it has to be restarted. Trust me, if you do not restart, it will not work. See, deploy is fed, it's deactivated. So select this, restart and deploy. So now the deployment process will start. Okay, now in order to save your time, I have already mentioned, now I am going to take you to the next server. That means that is the scene after installing this. I have already done for you so that it saves your time. Now installation process will start. Okay, you want to see the few percentage of installation, it's fine, wait for a few seconds. Okay, now it will start installing. See, all these are pending. Okay, it's starting itself. Okay, it's going through the checkup. That means the routine checkup, whatever things are required in order to install all this. Okay, and then it will definitely restart the server. See, installation started. Okay, all these three services of that one role is going to be installed one by one. Okay, now after the installation, how it looks, I'm going to take you to my next server. Trust me, there is no trick, just I prepared two servers. See, installation is done. Okay, now it takes time. I'm in my virtual machine. It does take time. I've got so many virtual machine. That's why it's taking maximum resource. So it takes time. So that's why now you assume that all these are being installed and then restarts. Okay. After restart, we are going to come to this server. See, now installation is done successfully. Just that. See the scenario. Okay. It's installing. Okay. It takes time. It will restart. After the restart, it's going to this. This is my second server. Okay, I prepared for you all. Now close. Now there are few things left. Now few, in fact, there are many things to be configured over here. Number one, you need to see, first see, remote desktop services at the left pane has to be displayed on the dashboard. That means remote desktop web access is being installed. Now first thing, number one, you are going to configure is the RD licensing. Without configuring your RD licensing, trust me guys, you are not going to be able to use this remote desktop web access. So this RD licensing, I'm going to use my same server. See, this is my server. Previous one was for your installation. That was my different server, but that means it is the same server. Now the next one, I need to make it sure that I'm going to install this licensing server, assuming the same server, since I'm a lab environment. It doesn't take much time if you are using your physical machine, since I'm using a virtual inspired. On top of that, I've got so many virtual machines, so I've used the maximum resources of my laptop, so that's why it takes time. Now add it, it's done. It won't take much time, trust me. It won't take even it might be in your physical machine, it might not take even a minute, but since I'm in virtual, it might take a bit longer, might take less time also sometime. So it's installing, so let's see how long it takes. By the time, if you like to see how the in first server, how those roles are being installed, how does it look like, you see installation is going on. Actually, see, installation is going on. See, I told you it takes time. Okay, first it will install this RD connection broker, then it's going to install RD web access role service, then it's going to install this session nodes. This is the most important that we're going to use it. So let's see in our main server whether the installation is done or not. It's almost done, I guess. Near about 50% is done. Let it install, then we'll continue. In between, I must tell you that for each and every service that we have selected for remote desktop web access, you need to have your certificate for that. Without certificate, you are not going to install. You might be wondering, why do I need to use a certificate if I'm using a lab environment? Trust me guys, this remote desktop web app will get displayed, that means will get hosted using the HTTPS, and I do believe everybody knows the meaning of your HTTPS. That means certificate it does require. That means for 3 services, how many certificates do I need to use? I can install one, okay, self-signed certificate, import it and deploy for all. You don't have to do that. You can create the separate for individual, otherwise it won't do that. Okay, so let it install, and then after installing a certificate, we are going to publish the application. That means which are the application you want your client them to use using a remote desktop web access. Now see, congratulations, successfully the remote desktop licensing rule has been installed without any error. It feels good when you see checkbox of the green going on, because there is no error. Now number 1, work is done, and 2, I told you must configure the server. And by the time, remember I told you that remote desktop web access must be accessed using the URL, and you are going to use it. So what will be the URL to access these computers, these servers, remote desktop web app? That is over here. See, they'll show you. Okay, it's coming, no worries. Okay, it will be somewhere around here, don't worry, it will come. I'll show you that. Now first, it will come after this actually. Now first, you need to go to the right pane. Okay, go to edit deployment properties. Remember I told you the certificates. Okay, this, it will showing it in between over here. Now gateway, we do not have gateway right now. We have not discussed about the RD gateway, so I'm not going to touch this, but our concern is the licensing. Okay, licensing will be per user. Okay, this is per user. I'm going to click apply, and then web access and certificate. The last one is certificate. Web access, see I told you the address. This is the address actually. Okay, that was not in overview, sorry for that. Now it's displayed over here, a remote desktop web access URL is this. That means the clients, you are supposed to provide your client along with this URL, like your any of the website that's been hosted over the cloud. So any of the client who hits this URL will be asked for authentication, and the server will go through the authentication and authorization whoever are allowed to use the application you're using this URL. Okay, now most important thing, certificate. I told you for 3 services you are going to use the 3 certificates individual. See it's saying over here, a remote desktop services deployment requires certificates for server authentication, single sign-on, and establishing secure connection. Because I told you we're going to use it using your, what do you call that, HTTPS, okay, for security. So I'm going to select first one, and I'm going to generate or create a self-signed certificate from here. Create new certificate. Of course, if you have existing CA or you have bought, you can use this select existing CA, but in my case there is no existing CA. Okay, so I'm going to select it and create a new self-signed certificate for this purpose, and write the name of your domain. And trust me guys, if you forget to write .com, it won't allow you to continue further. Okay, that will be viatech.com, and I'm going to give password. I'm going to give the password. This is my password, and it allows you over here, allow the certificate to be added to the trusted root. If the certificate is not allowed to the trusted root, how will you integrate this one for this remote desktop web access? So that's why I'm going to say that please do list it over here. Okay, now if I remove .com, let's try that also. Okay, as I said last time, see, it's deactivated. It won't allow you to continue, so you'll have to provide the full, okay, full domain name. Okay, now I'm gonna click over here. Okay, just a second. Apply from here. When I apply, see the status, nothing. State ready to, you can see over here it's displayed ready to apply. Now it is going to show that status is okay and it will be ready for apply. That means it's done. Success should be shown over here. So like this, rest of the 2 features also going to have the same way in adding a certificate for that service. It won't take much time, I guess a few seconds more left. Let it configure full. And you might be wondering, why don't I add a integrate the certificate? or in a trusted root, all the three certificates at the same time, trust me, it won't allow. It will not allow you to do that. Okay, one certificate at a time. Okay, see, status okay, state of success, ready to go. Okay, now let's go for this. And if you are wondering why do I need to have such certificate for this, informations are given at the bottom. Okay, select the second one for the connection broker. Same thing, create a self-signed certificate, give a name of your domain. Then I'm going to provide it with the password, and of course the same thing, trust it. Okay, and apply. It does the same thing. It go for the installation process. It will add in your trusted root, because if it is not added in a trusted root, definitely it's not going to be trusted, and if it is not trusted, URL page will not be open for you. Okay, so let it be installed similarly as we did for the first one, and then we'll be adding for the third one. Successfully done, congratulations. And the third one is left, create a one self-signed certificate. It's a kind of self-signed only. Okay, via viatel.com, the name of my domain, and this is your password for that, and it has to be added to the trusted root certification authorities. Okay, certificate is stored on a destination computer. Obviously I'm going to use it. Applied. This is the last certificate that we are going to add it for the remote desktop web access. Okay, I hope the things will go on well without giving any error. Sometimes we might come across certain circumstances facing issues installing a certificate. Okay, in that case, right now I guess everything will be fine because it's a fresh server. Installing, wait for the few more seconds. In physical, it won't take much time. Okay, congratulations, successfully done. Now see, all the certificates are added for all the services. That's mandatory over here in order to use the remote desktop web app services. It's done. One part is done. Okay, one part is done. Now second one, create session collection. Next, give a name. Let's say my web access. Okay, or you can add it also, anything you want. Okay, the session collection name has to be there. Okay, and who's going to be the host? Select the RD session host server, the server pool to add the collection. Obviously I'm going to use my same server. Okay, since I'm in a lab environment. So next, whom do you want? Remember I told you remote desktop web access, we are going to publish an application that can be used using a certain URL that's been provided by you, but authentication is always there. Okay, for that authentication, this security all we have already installed the certificate. Now it comes, whom do you want this application to be used using the URL? Whom? Domain users. Or if you have got any specific other user, you can just search it, browse it and add it. But for me, domain user is more than enough. Okay, I'm not going to use this user profile on this. So next, it's done. Create. Both should be green. Done. This I mean to say the blue successfully done. There shouldn't be any error. There shouldn't be any pending. That means in this step, what we did, we have selected a users or the host whom do you want this remote desktop web access to be used. Okay, with the help of authentication. Otherwise they will not be installed, or that means allowed over here. See, congratulations, the green check is done. Every system administrator, including myself, okay, whenever we see the green check, it's a bit relief. Otherwise the error, that means we will have to find the reason. Okay, in our case, successfully done. Now you might be wondering, okay, remote desktop web access role is done, the users whom do you want them to be used, this application is also done. But the next question, then where is my application? Remember, we create a pool. Come over here, my web app. Okay, web access, come to the tasks and write publish remote app programs. Now which are the application you would like to publish over the web access? That means remote app. That will get listed. All your installed applications are going to be installed over here. Okay, so this is my server. I have not installed any of the Office package, but in that case I can use at least MS Paint or the Notepad, anything that is going to be listed over here for the publishing. Okay, it's retrieving a list of all the app over here. It will make a list, then we're going to select it from there. Let it retrieve. Okay, done. See, these are the applications that you want. Okay, your client to be used. Okay, anything you want. Let's say the word part is here. I want my client, okay, my user, I want them to use WordPad using the remote desktop web access via the URL. Okay, and this one, let's say resource manager is also there. Okay, I'm looking for the paintbrush. Okay, it's over here. I think all these are more than enough for us. Okay, and the next, see, these are the 3 apps that's going to be hosted over here. That means confirm that the list of the remote app program to be published. These are the applications they are going to be published in a remote desktop web access so that the client can access it in a centralized location as if it is being installed in their local machine. That means if any of the client, whoever is going to access it without having a WordPad or a paintbrush in their PC, no worries guys, it's going to work as if it's been installed in their remote PC. Okay, publish it. And don't forget the web address that we saw last time. Okay, using that URL only we are going to utilize it. Okay, using this web app, using my same server or the client's PC, it's the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to use it, my same server, in order to access this app using the remote desktop web app services. Okay, it's almost done. Congratulations, successfully done. Okay, done. Last work, what we need to do is, how will I make sure all of these applications are being published via remote desktop web app? Okay, now in order to use that, go to the browser and you need to type that URL that we saw last time. Okay, that's a HTTPS. Remember why S? Because we have already added a certificate to the trusted root for this viatech.com, so that's why it's going to allow us to use. Then I'm going to write over here HTTPS : okay, / viatech.com and rdweb, because remote desktop web access we are going to use it. Okay, see, HTTPS is there. Now obviously this certificate is a self-signed certificate. Okay, if you go over the cloud or if you go via other network, they are not going to trust this certificate since it's added only in your trusted root. So that's why getting at this space, you might be wondering, oh my god, entire things are gone wrong. No, we have successfully configured this. Why? Because the certificate is not trusted. Okay, so that's why go to more information, go onto the web page, not recommended. Why? See, it's saying your PC doesn't trust this website security certification. Why? Because it's a self-signed certificate. Okay, for us it's okay. So go to this option. Now it should ask you for the authentication using the remote desktop web access. That screen I have shown you at first, it should come. Okay, it takes time over here since it's not trusted this certificate in this website security issues, so that's why. So let us search it. It might be searching the certificate somewhere, so it takes time. Okay, congratulations, successfully done. Of course, authentication is there. Now it's going to ask you, remember it's showing the format over here, or let's say it's some sort of the syntax. Okay, I'm gonna habit of saying the syntax also. I guess it's because of the programming. Okay, now domain / username. My domain is Viatech, and the user who's going to utilize this remote desktop web access, okay, web application over here, using this username. But this user has to be created in your domain beforehand. Okay, if I go to my users and computers, I would like to show you that this user is been created, pre-created. Remember I told you the members who's going to be able to use this remote desktop web app, they are the domain user. Of course, this user is also domain user. Okay, so let's see domain users. Okay, their properties. Okay, I'm going to show you member of domain users. Okay, that's why this user is able to use that app. So let's go. Congratulations. And over here, see, you need to be careful over here. See, it's a security issue. This is a public or shared computer. This is a private. Of course, I'm using my lab environment, so I'm going to use it private computer. So sign in. It will check the authentication. Obviously, it's not only about showing this interface. You type a name and password and you'll be allowed to open that app. Obviously, no. So it's going to, go through the authentication. Okay, these all are the apps that was, added previously also, and I added again. So these all are the application actually. Okay, you might be wondering why so many are there. Because I have previously also I had added for my other students to show. So that's why it was stored over there only. Now, what happens now? These are the applications which are successfully configured using a remote desktop app now. Okay, so congratulations, you have successfully seen all the steps. Now what happens? Now any of the app that's been listed over here, you just click, app will open and it will store in its proper place. That means it will store in your profile. Got it? See, it's done. It's so simple. Okay, congratulations. Now successfully you can see over here that the application that we have published using a remote desktop web app is being able to work it properly. So let's see if you want to type anything, it's done. See, all of these contents will be stored in your profile. It's done. It's so easy. Okay, it might take some time. Okay, in my case, the first this paintbrush was having certain issue. It took long time. It happens sometime. Okay, but it will save you a lot of time. See, all of the apps are here. You can click any of the app. Actually, it opens. Okay, like we open this MS WordPad. See, paintbrush is also open. It takes time sometime. In initial phase, it takes time. Afterwards, it works properly. That means now where does this document goes now? Okay, so let's say I write something over here. Okay, testing, and I would like to save it now. See, I would like to save it. Save. Okay, now it's going to ask me obviously location. Okay, let's go to the desktop. Let's say test. So I'm going to write it, the test. It's done. It's saved. Okay, now I want to sign out. Okay, let it sign out. So after the sign out is done, okay, now it's gone. We have already signed out from the remote desktop web app. Now the question comes, where does that document goes now? Isn't it? See, I've used the same computer. It might be your public or it might be private, any computer. But where is that document? If you have a look in a profile of the user in the domain, it will get stored over there. See, it's a save. So that's why I told you it's a save. Now you go over there. Okay, there's a user. These are the things you should be careful. Okay, work folder. Okay, where did it save? Desktop. See, this done. If you would like to see whether it's that document or not, okay, let's go to the edit and you'll find just a word we wrote. See, done successfully. Okay, so I guess sometime it takes a time to load your app. Okay, and it might show the error, so don't be panic on that. It takes time sometime. Okay, so I believe it was a easy going. Okay, installing app, it took a bit longer than expected one. Okay, but sometime, as you know, you work in a network environment, you need to have a bit this patience also sometime in order to use all of these roles or the feature that we use in a server. So finally we have come to the end of this session. I believe it was easy going. Okay, adding a certificate is easy. Okay, publishing an app is easy, authentication is easy, and apart from that, the URL that you have posted over here was a bit easy. So I hope it's going to help you a lot to publish any of the web over your cloud in order to use as a remote desktop web access, where all the applications will be hosted in one server and the clients are going to access it from any corner of the world in a centralized server. So if you think this was a fruitful, informative, so please do like and subscribe. Thank you.